Hey YouTube, we are done with Little Cup. There's still Master League on, but there is a Spring Cup Great League edition. So Great League Spring Cup is water, grass, and fairy type only. So a very limited meta. Fairy just seems like such a weird one, and so that's why grass kind of is like, you can kind of tell is already going to be more dominant in this meta because it's like, okay, grass beats water, and then like fairy is just kind of an odd man out, and it like a lot of the grass, there's not a lot, but there are some grass that are like grass poison that can also like resist fairies. So it's a weird meta. So right at the bat, I thought grass would be more predominant. So we're gonna do rankings here, and then timestamp below for the team suggestions. So the first one on the list is a fairy. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. But then I look at the move set and I'm like, okay, it has overheat, which again, when one of the two is a grass meta, right? Overheats can just boom every grass typing. And then Brutal Swing is a pretty fast charging move, and it does pretty well in neutral situations, which again, I don't think there's going to be a lot of, not that I know of, like water fairies, right? So it can probably hit neutral to most water Pokemon. So you're looking pretty good with Glaring Weezing, pretty spammy. Let's just go with the grass, because I said grass should be a lot on here. And we have Ferrothorn, Abomasnow twice, Tropius, Venusaur twice, and Jumpluff. And this is not surprising, right? Like Ferrothorn has the added bonus of being a steel, and I think that helps against, again, other grass type Pokemon, right? Because you just look at like Abomasnow. Oh, I guess Trevenant's a grass too. I see it as a ghost there, but Trevenant is your fourth grass there. Let me just make sure there's nothing else hidden over here. Trevenant is your fourth grass. So outside, so the secondary typings is where this is going to come into big play here. So you get like Ferrothorn with the steel typing, like will resist all your other grass type moves. Trevenant as the ghost will have that sort of ghost move that will hit neutral in all situations here, which is great. Abomasnow, which is the ice grass, is such a, I think, really strong typing for this meta, right? Because you're going to beat other grasses realistically with your ice type moves, and then you're going to beat your water with your grass type moves. So I think Abomasnow will be a lot of places. Tropius, Venusaur, Jumpluff, they all kind of do the same thing. Like why Tropius is higher is because it's running like Air Slash. So again, mirror match against grass type Pokemon, you have an advantage there running a flying type move. Venusaur is, with the Sludge Bomb will hit super effective against grass. That's why it's up there. And then Jumpluff, spammy with the Acrobatics, which will hit super effective against grass as well, right? So grass type Pokemon that can all hit super effective against grass is why they're on this list. Plus they have the grass type moves for the water. So that is why all those grass type Pokemon are on here. And then you go to the water type Pokemon, and you have Pelipper, Araquanid, Mantine, Tentacruel, Lantern, Walrein is a water, Dugong, and Celio. So Pelipper is a good one because it's a half flyer, right? So you will do well against your grass type Pokemon, even though you're a water type. So it's the main answer there. Plus you can Weather Ball spam. There's not a ton of fairies in this. As you can see, there's 1 in 10 and Weezing and Mawile. So you can spam the Weather Balls there. Very spammy with the Wing Attack buff, and then Hurricane, hopefully Nuke. Some of these are probably bait dependent, right? Like the Wing Attacks will add up on the grass, but you're still going to probably need to land a Hurricane in a lot of these situations. So I think it's probably bait dependent. Spider Bug there at number 8. Bug Buzz, again, it's probably somewhat bait dependent. It's very, very bulky if you've never used it before. You don't see it much anymore because of Noctowl and Lantern, right? Was the main meta here. And Lantern is on this list, so it still has problems here. But again, good answer to grass, good answer against water. Like it was one of the main answers to Swampert in the Open Great League. So it's still strong there. You should probably see a bit of it. Mantine and Dugong I'll just put in the same category because they basically are bulky water type Pokemons with ice type moves, right? So Dugong is like more of a pure ice type Pokemon. I consider it because it has like the fast move ice and charge move ice and wind, which you're using more, as opposed to Mantine, which is it's a fast move a wing attack, so it's kind of like a flyer more than a water, but even though the moves are just like water and ice. The only problem with these Pokemon that I hate, I don't hate using these Pokemon, but the problem with these Pokemon is if you get these two on something like a Walrein, like a pure water type, because then you would have nothing to throw, right? So that's their limitation if you're going to use them. Tentacruel is a good one because you have the Poison Jab, which is, again, going to be super effective against most grass-type Pokemon. And then Scald for neutral situations. But Poison Jab, Acid Spray can add up real fast. And then Lantern. Lantern is, if you look at the simulations, like some of the teams I put together coming up here, like a lot of the problem is Lantern. So great answer if you have grass. But outside of grass, it like takes care of everything because you're an electric and a water meta, right? And you'll do well against the fairies too in general. Like it does well against Weezing and Mawile, and it does well against all the waters except for like Swampert. So Lantern, I think, is going to be everywhere. So unfortunately, we can't get away from the Great League that easy. And then Walrein is kind of like an Abomasnow Light. Abomasnow has the ability to hit both grass and water. Powder Snows and Icicle Spears, you will be able to hit the grass back, being the ice typing. And then you have Earthquake for neutral situations for your water. Celio, I put out a video last week, 2 weeks ago, with Celio Lapras in the, I forget what cup it was there. So Celio is very, very spammy. The Powder Snow Body Slam spam is great. So it's great if, why you actually might want to use Celio instead of Walrein. If you have one built up, you don't need to. You can use just Walrein. Or you could do ABB style Walrein and Celio. I wouldn't hate that either. I think I may have put that team something here. Is because Body Slam is just in neutral situations going to do much better, right? With Walrein, if you get against like a pure water type, like Lantern or Tentacruel, your Powder Snow and Icicle Spears are all resisted, so it's more of a bait game, right? As opposed to Celio, which you can just spam those Body Slams. So that's a trade-off there. And then there's two other fairies on this list. Mawile, Fire Fang, again, a fairy with a steel typing that has a Fire Fang. So it's basically, you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna light up your grass and you're gonna get destroyed by your waters. that is Mawile. So if you're gonna use that, run it with a couple grass to cover your waters, essentially. And then Ninetales, you're running Powder Snow on this because it's not. Why aren't you running Charm again? Because one of the typing is. So the question is like, why don't you run Charm? Why is Powder Snow the right move? I guess Powder Snow is the right move because you're going to hit super effective against 1/3 of the meta and neutral against the other. And because the other fairies on here, Weezing, which is half poison, and Mawile, which is half steel, will resist the fairy, and like Charm. And Ferrothorn's on here as a steel too, right? So it just kind of makes sense to run it with Powder Snow. And it's running with Psyshock just because, again, you probably won't need the Dazzling Gleam as much, and Psyshock will hit Weezing super effective. So that is why you running it with Psyshock. So those are the Pokemon rankings. Let's look at some teams here. So I always start with number 1 on this list because I just think it's just I want to see why it's number 1. And you look down the board and it's just like got some good wins. Again, with an overheat, you're gonna light up the grass, right? So just boom, all the grass, and then even your losses, you're not too bad because you can spam the Brutal Swing, right? So that's why Weezing's so high up. You got a little bit of trouble against some of your waters, right? Not unexpected that your nuke, you don't have a nuke for waters, right? So you just have a non-stab Brutal Swing. So cover it with a great Water Lantern, and Lantern, as I said before, will be one of the main metas for this because you have an answer to the fairies in Weezing and Mawile, and you have super hard answers to all the waters like that Pelipper, Mantine, Tentacruel, Celio, Walrein, just like big X's. So that is like straight domination, right? And you're gonna have trouble against the grass, which you can't throw anything, right? Trevenant, Venusaur are just gonna light you up. So you cover your grass weakness with something, Weezing, and then those two will pair well. Needed a third. I was just like, okay, well, it'll just strong, and I'm like, Trevenant again. When you have such a strong secondary typing in Trevenant, there will be some things like Jumpluff and Ninetales. So again, Ice and a Pokemon that knows acrobatics, right? So those are your issues. But outside of that, like not a ton of super hard losses, right? Got some nice wins on the board. Covers your main weakness there. Mirror Match Trevenant, so pretty good. Again, pretty meta Pokemon. So it's pretty meta. So like, wow, Trevenant, Lantern, and the rank 1 Pokemon. How creative. But like, unfortunately, if you just played Bronzer Cup for a week, you know why you run the top rank Pokemon, because it is strong for a reason. Number 2, I'm like Abomasnow. Abomasnow should be good for all the reasons that I talked about. You cover your grass with your move, and then you have your with your ice, and then you still have grass for your water, right? So good coverage down the board. Weak to Mawa as a steel fire, so fire's gonna light you up, and Tentacruel as a poison, because that will do super effective against you as well. So you cover those weaknesses, and it recommended Quillfish, and I was like, Quillfish is interesting because Quillfish is so spammy. It's its own poison, so it's gonna cover the grass. It's super spammy, so you can spam the is it weather balls? It's like a fast water type move, so great coverage down the board. And then so I ended up running an ABB style team, so weak to Lantern essentially here, because look at outside of the Lantern matchup, as you see, lots of X's, not a lot of circles, and the only circles that are filled in, which means like hard losses, are Lantern, right? So ABB style team, you pull out the Lantern with one of these two. Quillfish, I would do. It's interesting because you can use either or as a safe swap, quite honestly, because Walrein with the Earthquake will be able to hit all its weaknesses pretty strong anyways. So you can use Walrein, or you can use Quillfish because the Sludge Bomb spam is pretty quick with this too. So I don't hate either of them as a safe swap. So both can be used as a safe swap. Hope you pull out a Lantern. If not, if the other team doesn't have Lantern, look at, you're pretty good down the board, right? So strong Pokemon, very few weaknesses in the meta overall, and the back two will cover the main front weaknesses of Abomasnow. Team number 3, I used Celio because I built it up for the cup, and it was like, again, so spammy. It's got ice type moves, so you take out the grass. It's spammy with its body slam, so in neutral situations are great. Again, Lantern is going to be, with so much water in this, Lantern is going to be an issue. So I did cover it in the back first with Swampert. Swampert's going to be really tough in this meta. Like it does well against Weezing, and it's a great answer to Lantern and Tentacruel because you resist the poison and you resist the electric. But there's so much grass and other water Pokemon that beat you, right? You're going to lose to, again, Ferrothorn, Trevenant, Abomasnow, Tropius, like Jumpluff, huge losses to water type Pokemon. Plus you also lose to like Pelipper as a flyer water type Pokemon. So it's Swampert's gonna be really tough to run this meta. I don't know if I want to run it. Like this is just like covering your weaknesses. Like if you want to cover Lantern weakness, so I don't mind Celio on the lead. If you want to cover Lantern weakness with like 2 other Pokemon that aren't as weak to like everything else, but also can cover Lantern, I wouldn't hate that. But again, Swampert just the best answer. And talk about another safe swap that will do well against anything. It kind of plays the same role as like, not the same role as like Quillfish, but because it's bulky and spammy, and just like there's not a ton that will resist the Bug Buzz in general. There's a couple steals, but outside of that, you're hitting neutral for everything, and it's super bulky. So not a bad Pokemon to use as a safe swap either. And the last one, I think I used Walrein twice on this. Again, you don't need to use Walrein multiple times. I think it's just because it filled the team out. Put Ferrothorn on because Ferrothorn was like one of the top ranked Pokemon. And why is that? Like, again, it is a grass typing, but the steel typing helps neutralize the ice, right? Which is huge because you're still going to beat all the waters as your grass. You neutralize the ice typings for some of these other ones that are also like usually ice outside of Abomasnow, but you can beat Abomasnow there. I guess you're running like Flash Cannon, probably Flash Cannon, which is super effective against Ferrothorn or Abomasnow. Again, a couple losses against like Weezing because everything's resisted. Trevenant because again everything's resisted there. Maybe not the iron type move there. And then Mawile as a fire steel. That's not a fire steel, but it's fire type fast move with steel. So again, covered those weaknesses with Pelipper. Pelipper is one of the best options there. And again, out comes Lantern. So again, I just put in an ABB style team weak to Lantern. You don't need to put Walrein in here. In fact, if you wanted to do because these two, if you look at Ferrothorn and Pelipper, they cover each other's weaknesses pretty much down the board, right? Everything that Ferrothorn's weak to, Pelipper will cover. So you can run these two with a safe swap. And again, I've mentioned multiple safe swaps already. I think Quillfish, I think Arquanaud, I think Celio or Walrein could act. Even though it's hard loss against Lantern, I think both of those act as safe swaps too. So I think this pair is good. Find a safe swap if you can, because I went to PVPoke and I was just playing around with it, and I was like, So for those of you who don't know, I won't put it up on the screen, but if you go to like Spring Cup and just get it sorts by overall, but you can also sort by leads, closer, and switches. So I put in switches, and so one of the best switches in this meta is, so Pelipper is number 1, which again, you're still going to get it lit up by Lantern, as you can see on the screen. The second one is Wheezing, which makes sense if you go back to, let me just close all this down and open up team number 1 here. Nope, team number 1. Because again, look at Wheezing down the board, no hard losses, right? So you will lose some matchups, but even those are not hard losses because you can just spam the brutal swings or nuke and overheat. So Wheezing is a great one. Trevenant is still on this. Yep, Trevenant's right there too. A couple hard losses to Jumpluff, but even Jumpluff and Ninetales, if you get ahead on energy, you can land a shot. You won't win, but you'll land a Shadow Ball, right? So it's pretty good as a safe swap. Abomasnow is on here as the 4th. Again, Abomasnow is great. What team was it on? Number 2 or number 3? Number 2. Abomasnow is great outside of, like, there are a couple that will just hard punish you. Tentacruel and Mawa, where you don't really have anything to throw. So I don't love it as a safe swap, but there we go. 6 is A Ninetales, but 7 is Araquanid, and 8 is Celio. And look at that. I don't think I even looked at that. And it just kind of like, based on having used both of those Pokemon before and knowing their bulkiness, ability to hit everything in neutral situations, and their spamminess, it makes them great safe swap. And Mantine's number 9. So same sort of thing. I don't love Mantine, but same sort of thing. Bulky, spammy, does well as a safe swap. So those are your top sort of switches. So find a pairing that you like. A lot of time I list the first 2 pairings here, like a Abomasnow Quillfish. This one is Celio Araquanid, or actually this one was Swampert that I did, but the team number 4 here was Ferrothorn, Pelipper. Cover each other's weaknesses. So cover your weaknesses, find a safe swap. I think that's the best way to play this. But you can also run ABB style teams like sort of like this, that like both Pelipper and Walrein kind of access safe swaps to draw a Lantern there. So good luck. So what I'm going to try and do is, unfortunately, this is running over Easter, and I'm headed back, leaving tomorrow morning. So this is going up Wednesday. I'm leaving Thursday morning. So what I plan to do is I'm going to shoot hopefully 2 sets, 2 teams Wednesday night before I leave. So those will go up Wednesday or Thursday, Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I've already got videos shot for the best. I've already done, like, so for Great League, Ultra League, Master League, I said, here are the Pokemon you should prioritize building. But with the recent nerf for raids and a lot of people having dust issues and Excel issues, I'm now going to put out videos Saturday, Sunday, Monday for Great League, Ultra League, Master League of, well, not Master League, but Great League and Ultra League for non-Excel Pokemon and non-legendary Pokemon that you should use. And then Master League for Premier Classic, not Premier Classic, but Premier no legendary Pokemon that you should build up. So that'll run Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then check back Tuesday for whatever sort of teams worked while I was away. That is it. Appreciate watching. Let me know in the comments below if you are playing this meta and what you're going to play. And that is it. So I'll see you in the next one.